The Discovery captain, Elena Vasquez, floated through the cramped corridors of mining station Kepler-7, her magnetic boots clicking against the metal floor with each step. The asteroid belt station had been humanity's furthest outpost for 3 years now, harvesting rare minerals from the rocky debris orbiting between Mars and Jupiter. Elena had commanded deep space operations for over a decade, but today felt different. Her team had found something that shouldn't exist. "Captain, you need to see this immediately," came the urgent voice of Dr. Marcus Chen through her comm unit. The xenoarchaeologist's excitement was barely contained, which was unusual for the normally calm scientist. Marcus had joined the mining operation 6 months ago when they started finding unusual metallic compounds that didn't match any known periodic table. Elena pushed through the airlock into the main research lab, where she found Marcus hunched over a device that definitely wasn't human-made. The object was roughly cylindrical, about the size of a coffee can, and covered in symbols that seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. It pulsed with a soft blue light that made Elena's eyes water if she looked directly at it. "Where did you find this?" Elena asked, keeping her distance from the strange artifact. "Embedded in asteroid fragment 47 Alpha," Marcus replied, his hands dancing across his tablet as he recorded measurements. "The mining drones brought it up this morning. Elena, this technology is at least 10,000 years old, maybe more. The energy signature is unlike anything we've ever encountered." Tech specialist David Park looked up from his bank of computers, his young face pale with excitement and fear. "Captain, I've been running scans on the object for the past 4 hours. It's not just a relic. It's still active. The energy patterns suggest it's some kind of data storage device, possibly a message beacon." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Humanity had been searching for signs of alien intelligence for centuries, and now they might have found it in the most unexpected place. "Can we access the data safely?" "That's the thing," David continued, adjusting his thick glasses nervously. "The beacon started transmitting the moment we brought it aboard. It's been sending a focused signal toward Earth continuously since 800 hours. Commander Sarah Liu entered the lab at that moment, her military bearing evident even in the low gravity environment. Sarah had been assigned to Kepler-7 as a security advisor, but her strategic mind made her invaluable for any crisis situation. "Captain, I've been monitoring communications with Earth Command. They're receiving the signal from our beacon and they're not happy about it." Elena turned to face her second-in-command. "What's the response from Earth?" "Admiral Rodriguez wants a full report within the hour," Sarah replied grimly. "But there's something else. Deep space monitoring stations have detected unusual activity in the outer solar system. 3 unknown objects, massive in size, have appeared at the edge of our sensor range." The lab fell silent except for the steady humming of life support systems. Elena had trained for first contact scenarios, but the reality was far more terrifying than any simulation. "Marcus, what have you learned from the beacon?" The scientist's face was grave as he consulted his notes. "The language is completely alien, but the beacon contains universal mathematical constants that serve as a translation key. I've managed to decode about 30% of the message so far." He paused, looking around at his colleagues. "Elena, this isn't a greeting or a scientific exchange. It's a warning." David's computers suddenly erupted with activity, screens flashing with incoming data streams. "Captain, the beacon is responding to something. The transmission rate just increased by 400%. "What's it responding to?" Elena demanded. "Unknown vessels entering our solar system," Sarah answered, checking her military communication device. "Earth Command confirms 3 large ships are approaching Saturn's orbit. They're not responding to our hail attempts." Marcus worked frantically at his translation matrices, sweat beading on his forehead despite the station's cool temperature. "I need more time to decode this properly, but I'm getting fragments about an empire, something called the Dominion. The warning mentions conquest protocols and species integration. Elena made a command decision that would change human history. David, establish a priority channel to Earth Command. Sarah, initiate emergency protocols. Marcus, I need whatever information you can extract from that beacon in the next 20 minutes. As her team jumped into action, Elena stared out the observation window at the distant stars. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they were about to find out, and the answer was coming whether they were ready or not. Marcus's translation algorithm finally produced coherent results. The words that appeared on his screen made his blood run cold. Elena, listen to this. To any species receiving this message, know that the Dominion approaches. We are the Kitharans, once proud inhabitants of 7 worlds. We resisted their conquest for 40 years before our final defeat. The Dominion follows patterns. They scout, they demand submission, they integrate or eliminate. But they have never encountered a species like yours. What do you mean, like ours? Elena asked. Marcus continued reading from the beacon's translated message. Your species shows signs of rapid adaptation and unconventional thinking. The Dominion has conquered 1,247 civilizations using the same methods. They expect logical responses to logical threats. We have hidden this message in the debris of dead worlds, hoping someone would find it before facing what we faced. The Dominion's weakness is their predictability. They cannot adapt to chaos. Remember this when they come. The communication system crackled to life with Admiral Rodriguez's voice from Earth. Kepler 7, this is Earth Command. We have confirmation of 3 alien vessels in our solar system. They're approaching at sublight speeds, estimated arrival at Earth in 72 hours. Upload all data from your discovery immediately. Elena keyed her microphone. Admiral, we have critical intelligence from the alien beacon. The approaching vessels belong to something called the Dominion Empire. This appears to be a conquest fleet, not a peaceful first contact. There was a long pause before the Admiral responded. Captain Vasquez, return to Earth immediately with your team and all artifacts. We're initiating Global Defense Protocol 7. Humanity is about to face its greatest challenge. As Kepler 7 prepared for emergency departure, Elena gathered her team for final instructions. I want you all to understand what's happening. We're not just returning to Earth with a discovery. We're bringing intelligence that might save our species. David had been quietly monitoring the approaching alien vessels during their conversation. Captain, I'm detecting changes in the alien ship's trajectory. They're no longer heading directly for Earth. One ship has broken off and is approaching our position. Sarah immediately went to the tactical display. How long until they reach us? At their current speed, approximately 6 hours, David replied, his voice tight with fear. Elena made another critical decision. We're not running. If these aliens want to make contact, they're going to find humans who are prepared. Marcus, copy all beacon data to multiple secure drives. Sarah, what defensive capabilities do we have? Kepler 7 wasn't designed for combat, Sarah admitted. But we have mining explosives, industrial lasers, and the advantage of knowing our station's layout better than any invader. Marcus looked up from his work with the beacon. There's more from the Kitharan message. The Dominion will offer you choices that are not real choices. They will promise integration, threaten extinction, and demand submission. But remember, they have never lost because they have never fought a species that refused to play by their rules. Your chaos is your strength. As the alien ship grew larger in their sensors, Elena felt a strange sense of calm settle over her. Humanity had always been explorers, always pushing into the unknown. Today, the unknown was coming to them. The beacon continued transmitting its ancient warning toward Earth, carrying with it the desperate hope of a dead civilization that somewhere, someone might finally break the pattern of conquest that had claimed over 1,000 worlds. In 6 hours, humanity would face the Dominion Empire for the first time. The outcome would determine whether Earth joined the long list of conquered worlds, or whether the galaxy was about to witness something unprecedented in its history. The ultimatum. The Dominion vessel approached Kepler 7 with the silent majesty of a predator stalking prey. Ambassador Vexthul stood on the bridge of the scout ship Harvester of Worlds, his 4 arms crossed in contemplation, as he observed the primitive human mining station. In his 3 centuries of service to the Dominion, he had overseen 47 planetary conquests, each following the same predictable pattern. The humans would be no different. "Scan complete, Ambassador," reported Sub-Commander Crix from the navigation console. "The station contains approximately 200 life forms. Their technology appears to be roughly equivalent to Level 2 civilization status. Standard conquest protocols should apply." Vexathul's segmented eyes focused on the readings. The humans had crude fusion reactors, basic artificial gravity systems, and what appeared to be primitive mining equipment. Yet something felt different about this encounter. The electromagnetic signatures emanating from the station showed unusual activity patterns. "There is an anomaly," announced sensor technician Zol. "The station is broadcasting a signal that matches ancient Kytheran transmission protocols. This should not be possible, as the Kytherans were eliminated 847 standard cycles ago." The ambassador's mandibles clicked together in surprise. No species had accessed Kytheran technology since the Dominion had cleansed their worlds. "Verify the signal authenticity." "Confirmed, Ambassador. The transmission contains Kytheran mathematical constants and linguistic markers. The humans appear to have discovered a Kytheran message beacon." Vexthul felt the first stirring of unease in decades. The Kytherans had been particularly troublesome during their conquest, requiring extensive military action before final pacification. Their technology had been systematically destroyed to prevent exactly this scenario. "Open a communication channel to the human station," Vexthul commanded, settling into his ceremonial armor. It was time to begin the conquest ritual. Aboard Kepler 7, Elena and her team watched as the alien ship positioned itself just outside their defensive perimeter. The vessel was sleek and predatory, covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift in the starlight. "Incoming transmission," David reported, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. "They're using standard radio frequencies, but the signal is incredibly clean. Their communication technology is far more advanced than ours." Elena nodded to Sarah, who activated the station's recording systems. Whatever happened next would be transmitted to Earth as part of humanity's first contact record. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Ambassador Vexthul. His appearance was both alien and terrifying, tall, angular, with skin that looked like polished obsidian. When he spoke, his words came through in perfect English, though his voice carried harmonic overtones that made everyone on the bridge uncomfortable. "Greetings, inhabitants of the third planetary system. I am Ambassador Vexthul of the Dominion Empire, herald of integration and voice of conquest. Your species has been observed and catalogued. You have been found suitable for absorption into the greater galactic community." Elena stepped forward, drawing on every diplomatic training session she had ever attended. "Ambassador Vexthul, I am Captain Elena Vasquez, representing the human species and the Earth Alliance. We welcome contact with your civilization and hope to establish peaceful relations." The alien's mandibles moved in what might have been amusement. "Captain Vasquez, you misunderstand the nature of this encounter. This is not a diplomatic negotiation. I am here to inform you of your new status as subjects of the Dominion Empire. Your species will be relocated to designated worlds where you will contribute to the greater galactic order." Marcus stepped up beside Elena, the translated Kytheran beacon data displayed on his tablet. "Ambassador, before we discuss our status, we believe you should be aware that we have received a message from the Kytheran civilization." For the first time in the conversation, Vexthul showed genuine surprise. His 4 eyes narrowed as he leaned forward. "The Kytherans were eliminated centuries ago. No record of their civilization exists outside of Dominion archives. Nevertheless," Elena continued, "we have accessed their historical records and warnings about Dominion conquest methods. We know about the 147 civilizations that have been integrated or eliminated. We know about the pattern of scout ships, ultimatums, and final conquest." The silence that followed was profound. Vexthul's composure cracked slightly as he processed this impossible information. In all his centuries of conquest, no primitive species had ever possessed knowledge of the Dominion's methods or history. "This knowledge changes nothing," he finally said, though his voice lacked its previous confidence. "The Dominion's power is absolute. Your awareness of our methods will not prevent your integration. Dr. Chen activated his translation device and began reading from the Kithaeron message. The Kithaeron specifically warned about this moment, Ambassador. They predicted that your empire would eventually encounter a species that could break your patterns of conquest. The Kithaeron's were destroyed because they refused to accept the inevitable. Vexthul replied coldly. Their warnings are the desperate hopes of a dead civilization. Sarah stepped forward, her military bearing evident even in the face of impossible odds. Ambassador, the Kithaeron's also provided us with specific information about Dominion fleet compositions, weapon systems, and tactical doctrines. We know that your scout ships carry approximately 50,000 soldiers each, and that your main fleet follows 72 hours behind initial contact. Vexthul's composure shattered completely. This information was classified at the highest levels of Dominion command. No conquered species had ever possessed such detailed intelligence about Dominion military operations. How is this possible? He demanded, his harmonic voice becoming harsh and discordant. Elena seized the moment. Ambassador, we formally request an audience with your fleet commander. The human species wishes to present a unique proposition regarding our integration into the Dominion Empire. This was completely outside of established conquest protocols. Vexthul had been trained to deliver ultimatums, not negotiate with informed species. The situation was unprecedented in Dominion history. Your request is irregular, Vexthul admitted, struggling to maintain his authority. No species has ever requested formal audience during conquest proceedings. Then perhaps, Marcus suggested calmly, it's time for the Dominion to adapt its methods. The Kithaeron's warned that your empire's greatest weakness was its inability to change established patterns. For several minutes, Vexthul was silent, clearly communicating with his fleet commanders through subspace channels. When he finally responded, his tone had changed completely. Fleet Commander Thylox has agreed to receive a human delegation aboard the flagship Eternal Dominion. You will have one standard time period to present your proposition. Be aware that no species has ever successfully negotiated terms with the Dominion Empire. Elena felt her heart racing but kept her voice steady. We accept the terms, Ambassador. When should we expect transport? A shuttle will arrive within 6 time units. Bring your Kithaeron data and any other historical information you possess. The fleet commander is curious about how you acquired knowledge that should not exist. After the transmission ended, Elena's team stood in stunned silence. They had achieved the impossible. They had forced the Dominion Empire to deviate from its conquest protocols. Did we just buy Earth more time? David asked quietly. More than that, Sarah replied grimly. We've created a situation that the Dominion has never faced before. We're about to find out if humanity's greatest strength really is our unpredictability. Marcus was already preparing copies of the Kithaeron data, his hands shaking slightly with adrenaline. The Kithaeron's final message contained specific instructions for this moment. They believed that if any species could break the Dominion's patterns, it would be one that refused to accept limitations. Elena looked out at the approaching Dominion fleet, 3 massive ships that could end human civilization with a thought. In a few hours, she would board an alien vessel and attempt something that had never been done before. Negotiate with an empire that had never lost a conquest. As the team prepared for what might be humanity's final gamble, the Kithaeron beacon continued transmitting its ancient warning toward Earth. But now it carried something else. Hope that after 1,247 conquered worlds, the pattern might finally be broken. The fate of humanity now rested on their ability to prove that chaos, creativity, and stubborn refusal to accept defeat could triumph over the cold logic of galactic empire.